Hey, I'm Caleb. Today I'm going to try to turn this into some art. This is this month's giveaway. If you're interested, there will be information below. Now if you stick with me, I'll show you how you can make this too. I need to glue these into a panel, so first step will be getting them milled up. A good way to make this more DIY friendly would be to just get a panel that's already glued up from the big box store. When you're milling, to minimize chip out, you want to make sure you always feed your grain downhill through your machines. And if you don't want your dust collector to be an expensive waste of money, watch for obstructions like miniature children's electric motorcycles that clog your lines. Clear here, clogged here. Time to prepare the glue up. I figured I've used every big machine in my shop already, so no big deal if I go ahead and try out my domino on this thing. So I'm just gonna mark where they're going. The tape is to make sure I keep it inside the width because these are pretty oversized. Of course, if you want to do a panel glue up and don't have a domino, you totally can. And earlier this year, I did a video on how to get good panel glue up results with just clamps and cauls, so I'll leave a link to that. So I'm running into problems here because with the domino, the idea is you want to cut a tight tenon on one side and a loose tenon on the other, because if you do both tight, if there's any misalignment, then things aren't going to come together. I thought I would be cute and to make cutting it easier, do one board tight, 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 and then the other two loose. But what I should have done is put the loose and tight on the same side of the board, so that way, and then put all the tenons in only the tight mortises, because it's easier to get them in the loose mortises than in the tight mortises during this part. So that was the first time using my domino, and I've got to say, did not make me instantly feel like a better woodworker. I honestly think I got better results with just my cauls. So let's just call this one a learning experience. Time to let it dry. Scraping off these little blueberries is one of my favorite shop sounds. All that sanding made me rethink making my own panel. But anyway, one of the things to note on this side where the water is going to be, I made sure to really smooth out the live edge so the epoxy flows nice. On the side that's going to be beachy, I left a lot more texture because sand has texture. It's an artistic choice, don't judge me. It had nothing to do with being tired of sanding. I don't want to risk messing up the color of my epoxy by applying finish after all of it, so I'm going to seal all the wood before I do any epoxy. For that, I'm using some shellac because it's a universal finish or solvent, meaning it sticks to anything and anything sticks to it. So I know I'm not going to have any adhesion issues with the epoxy. It's also just light and clear, so I'm not going to lose very much of my color. It's just going to tone it a little more like sand. There's nothing wrong with using the canned stuff like I have here, but if that's not pretentious enough for how you like to do your art, you can mix your own, you know. You do you, I won't judge, you don't judge me. Now it's time to take these two pieces and turn them into the French cleat and arch that's going to support the entire piece and hold the LEDs. My battery died sometime in that cut, but anyway, what you can see is I've got two miters that meet together, and this is how it's going to hang. Now to mark and cut the arch for the LEDs. I'm going to use some acrylic to tint and diffuse the light, so I need to cut it to the same width as my cleats so it'll fit. And anytime I need two pieces to match, I always try to set up my machines with the actual piece so I don't have any measurement error.
And now to start the epoxy pour for the ocean. But, oh, wait, hold on, I didn't make enough. Okay, I'm using Total Boat 2-to-1 resin with acrylic pigment for the coloration. The colors were recommended from my friend Jess at Crow Creek Designs, who is a pro at this and has a really great class that goes into all of the details and won't lead you wrong, so I'm gonna hand it over to her. Thanks, Caleb. Hey, I'm Jess. Wood and epoxy artwork is my specialty. Caleb is a great guy, but clearly, surprisingly, a horrible student. He really should have maybe read my class again and paid better attention to the video. Are you using your wife's hairdryer? Well, I assume it's not yours. Wait, Caleb, why are you tipping it? I never said do that. Oh, jeez. Well, anyway, if you want to try this and probably get better results than Caleb, consider buying my class. I'm sure Caleb will link it below. Also, I launched a new line of epoxy with Total Boat called Maker Epoxy that is formulated just for epoxy art like this. It has a longer open time, it's easier to mix, and will get you much better lacing than the, well, practically no less lacing that Caleb has here because he didn't listen to me. But thanks for giving it a shot. It does look pretty good. Back to you, Caleb. Thanks, Jess. I thought that would go better, but really appreciate your time.
All done. I let it cure overnight. It's not totally cured, but pretty cured enough I can touch it. I think it looks pretty cool. I do wish I'd put more white on top. The way the white is here, I think it'd look better if this was kind of backwards with this much white up top. I think this is about good, and that amount back here, but still happy with it. But now it's time to clean off all the drips on the bottom.
Another thing Jess mentioned in her class was taping the back of the board. As you can see, I didn't do that, so I used the heat gun to help loosen them up and a chisel to pop off the epoxy drops.
This side's prepped enough. I can get some shellac on the back.
Now to attach the sunset strip. I made some little clips from an offcut to hold this in place and get the arch. A few brad nails hold the clips in place. I didn't want to use much more for fear of splitting them. And to attach the French cleat to the back of the piece, I used my drywall square to get it lined up, and then used some brad nails to hold it in place while I drilled some countersink holes and then screwed it on. With the cleat securely attached, I can add the LED lights. I just used the adhesive back that was already attached to them and looped them over to get double the amount of LEDs to increase the brightness. This strip has warm and cool LEDs, so to get a consistent color glow, I made sure that the colors alternated and weren't stacked on top of each other. And a little Starbond CA glue is some insurance that the lights won't come loose. To keep the bottom of the piece from tipping towards the wall, I added a spacer block at the bottom. And this is why I love hanging things with French cleats. It's super easy. I just mark the studs and screw in the wall cleat, making sure that it's level. Then put the piece on it. The screws are hidden and there's no trying to catch a nail in the wall with a wire or hold something that's heavy up while securing it. I did order a white power cord to go with this, but it's not here yet. Anyway, I hope you're inspired to make something or at least entertained. Be sure to check out Jess's class and Make Epoxy. But until next time, make time to make something.